And good evening, and welcome to Love and Stuff. I am excited that you are here. It's 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, Vicki Johnson Williams, who's joining us on the uh, Love and Stuff page, and the folks that are joining us on Welcome to Love and Stuff, the Marcus Our Homes page. Thank you so much. And those of you that are on Twitch TV, and those of you that are on YouTube, thank you for joining us for another foray into the box, into the inbox. Hello, Corey Reed. I see Corey Reed has joined us as well. So I'm going to give it a few moments for you to click share and tag some folks. And I'm going to do the same thing as we prepare to get started. All right. Pam Caldwell has joined us. Thank you, Pam Caldwell. I hope that you will click share and tag some folks to join us. I'm going to do that same thing myself. Tag some folks to join us. Okay, get some folks joining us. All right, click share, tag someone to join us, please. That's what I am going to do as well. And while I'm doing that, I want to thank you again, those of you that came to Love's Alive, our Valentine's Day event. It was great, and I'm so glad that you came. I hope you enjoyed yourself. We gave away some great prizes. I wish that I had won some of them prizes. It was great prizes. So, and I'm just sharing the live with a few folks. And thank you for bearing patient with me while I do that. We had Ready to Love Season 3 star with us, Rasheed Floyd, and he had a great time. And he is planning to come back and be with us for 36 questions that lead to love. I will be letting you know as soon as we solidify the date so that you can join us. I think you will absolutely enjoy it. And we had some wonderful, wonderful film movies that we watched. And so I just want to thank all of those that participated. It was a great Valentine's Day, and I certainly had a great time. Click share and tag someone, just as I'm clicking share and tagging some folks to join us. Please, just sharing it with a few spots. Thank you, YouTube. I see some of our overseas folks. Thank you so much. And I'm just clicking share. And I'd like for you to do the same if you don't mind. I think I just did that. Yes, I did. Okay, I want you to do the same thing. Okay, just a few folks. Thank you. Some folks are joining. Thank you so much. I hope you will click share. I'm just clicking share to invite some folks to join us in this discussion, which required me to do a little bit of homework, I must admit. But I'm open to learning about new things. All right, why don't you click share? I'm doing the same thing. Just click share and tag a few folks to join us in the discussion. I'm just almost done. Okay. All right. Uh-oh. Click share now. Don't go away. Click share. Okay, click share. All right. Okay, cool. All right. Oh, a few more seconds and then, tag those people that you know might chime in on this. Okay. And done. All right. Okay. All right. So from our inbox, we are from our inbox. And then I will drop your names in the comments so that I'll know that you're here, just as Corey did. Of course, when you're entering the room, I can see some of you. Pam Caldwell has joined us. And we're looking at the Facebook page, because I can only see once you've dropped comments in there. All right, a couple folks on the Love and Stuff page. Thank you so much. So, and our senior associate producer will pin this topic, but I will read the topic um, from the inbox. All right. I was somewhat wild, she says, in my 20s. I grew up in the Bible Belt with Bible believing parents that were pretty strict. When I got grown, I did everything that they taught me not to do, including getting into a swinger, polyamorous lifestyle and relationship. So I know a little bit, I've heard about polygamy, but I had to kind of look at the polyamorous part. Fast forward, she says, I am married with 2 young adult children and a good career. I recently applied for a promotion with my company and I was not given the position. While out of the office for a few days, I learned who my new manager would be. One of the guys that I used to swing with, that she used to be in this polyamorous kind of relationship. Our jobs do require us to be in the office, sometimes alone, and I feel the same energy. He keeps referring to back in the day. I told him that I'm happily married, and he says he respects that, but he keeps telling me about his wife and their open relationship. My husband knows that I was wild, but I never told him the details. I feel like I should tell my husband, but I know that he will show up to take me to lunch and to set my manager straight. What should I do? So this woman is from the inbox. She has many, many years ago engaged, got involved in a swinger lifestyle. And what she says is a polyamorous relationship where there were multiple partners involved in the relationship, but it wasn't a marriage, it was a relationship. So it wasn't, multiple people married, but she was involved in that lifestyle. Forward some 20 plus years later, because I think it's 23 or so years later. Thank you, our senior associate producer. And now she's married, happily married, she says. She has 2 children, 2 young adult children. She's got a career. She goes out for this position. She interviews. They don't give her the position. She takes a couple of days off. And when she comes back, or while she's off, she, I guess, hears from her friends that they've hired in this position that she interviewed for, which was going to move her up into the manager ranks. And she finds out that the manager that they hired is a gentleman from her 20s that she used to be swinger partners with. And she sees him, she goes into the office, and they have the same energy she describes as the same chemistry that they had kind of comes back to her, but she doesn't act on it. She just recognizes that they still have the same attraction that they had before. And she tells him, hey, I'm married, I'm in a different place now. And he says, oh, I respect that. But a lot of his conversations are around his open marriage. And so all of these years, she just told her husband that she was wild. She never told her husband that she was in a swinger, polyamorous kind of relationship, lifestyle. And so she's wondering, should she tell him if something happens? If this guy keeps pressing the issue and maybe she needs him to step off, should she tell her husband after all of these years that it wasn't just her being wild? What should she do? I want to hear from you. This is from our inbox. And as you know, we frequently come back to our inbox for questions, for topics that people put in the inbox. And listen, you're welcome to inbox me at Marcus R. Holmes or at Love and Stuff with your inbox situations and ideas. We will maintain your anonymity if you decide that you want to, or bring you on the show to discuss it if you decide that you want to. And so I want to hear from those of you that are here, those that are on the Marcus R. Holmes page, few that are on YouTube, some that are on Shantae McDougal was on the Love and Stuff page. Thank you. So I want to hear from you. What would you do? And if you're interested in coming live with me, our senior associate producer, J. Gerald Harvey IV, will get the link to you so that you can come live with me. But what would you do? What would you do if you were young and wild? Let's say you're in your 40s and you were young and wild in your early 20s and maybe early to mid 20s, and you got involved in this polyamorous lifestyle, in these relationships where there are multiple partners and there's this understanding amongst you that you can be involved with multiple partners in relationship. Okay. If that's what you decide, or you decide that you're part of this swinger lifestyle. I know that some people are saying, what? It's a reality. It might not be your reality. And because we're in the center of Love and Stuff, it's not judgment for people whose reality it might be. It might be enlightenment for them. Okay. But this happened to her, or she was a part of this when she was in her 20s. And in part, she went to swinger parties and she had that kind of lifestyle. Okay. Switching, changing partners, going to meet up with partners. There were swinger places. I don't know about other cities, but there were swinger places, might still be, in Detroit, around Detroit, and people lived in that lifestyle, okay, or may still. But she didn't continue that lifestyle after her early 20s. About a year or so after that point, she met and fell in love and married her current husband, who she's been with for 20 something years. I'll keep putting the somethings on it because to the extent we can keep some anonymity. So now she's working at a company where she feels that she has a great career. But one of the principal gentlemen who was involved in this polyamorous relationship has just been hired at her company as her boss. And yes, while she told her husband that she was a wild child, she did not tell him the detail of those wild times. So he did not know she was in this polyamorous relationship. She says she has no desire to return to that lifestyle, but she recognizes that this former partner, now her manager, and her still have this chemistry. So they still connect, right? But she's concerned because he's continuing to talk about his relationship with his wife being an open relationship, an open marriage. What would you do? Would you tell your husband, ladies, gentlemen, if you were in the case, would you tell your wife? What would you do? I want to hear from you. I'm looking for you in the comments. And I'm hoping that if you're interested in coming live to talk about it, let's come live and talk about it with me. And J. Gerald Harvey IV will provide for you the link to join me via Restream. What would you do? It's your past, right? It's something that happened in the past. And sometimes, can anybody give me some likes or loves that are here? Whether you're in YouTube, I don't know if Twitch TV, if you can give me likes, but I know in YouTube you can. On Facebook, give me some likes if you've ever had your past show up in your present. Give me some likes. Give me some loves. Give me an old face, if you can find that emoji that people use for wow. Give me that one. If someone's ever shown up from your past was like, hey, remember me? I know, I see one thumbs up, okay? I know if I were in the room, I would be hitting hearts and emojis of all kinds because I've had that happen to me at the most, what I consider the most inopportune moments, where people just came from the past and was like, "Hey, you remember me?" I'm like, sometimes are you? Sometimes I'm like, no. Sometimes I used to do that, say, no, but I really did. I probably have a pretty decent memory, I would call it. But there were times that I said, no, because you kind of wanted to forget the things that have happened in the past, right? And so starting there, because some of you, thank you, have responded on the Love and Stuff page, especially um, with hearts and likes. Um, if you have a past and you get married, how inclined are you to give the sordid details to your partner? Okay. I see Shantae on McDougal on Love and Stuff saying she is going to have to say something. Shantae, I think Jay Gerald should inbox you the link so you can come on and talk to me. So I was just queuing up that question, right? I was going to ask, how inclined are you if you have a because everybody has a past, but how inclined are you if you have a sordid kind of past to tell your partner the sordid details? I mean, you know, you're forsaking all others, and you should want to tell all of the information, right? Thanks for coming. I see some folks coming in. Bernard Hall, Dr. Gerald Shiners. I'd love to have him come on up. This is probably not right up his alley, but I understand. Corey Reed, of course, Pam Caldwell, Vicki Johnson Williams, Shantae McDougal. Keep it coming. Click, share, and tag somebody to come into the discussion. How inclined would you be to tell your partner, hey, by the way, when I say wild child, I mean, you know, I was swinging from the chandelier with 3 partners and we were in a polyamorous relationship, which means he slept with her, he slept with me, we slept together. How many of you would be inclined to do that? I'm speaking for her, right? How many of you would be inclined to do that? Okay. All right. Want to give you the opportunity. And Jay Gerald, if you can just take the link from your inbox, the Restream link, that the standard link will work for anyone who wants to come. So I want to share that link to have them come now. Okay. So clearly they didn't have that conversation, right? And she said she thought, for whatever reasons, because this guy had relocated and was no longer living in the area where she lives, that was the end of it. And because she had not seen him in the space of all of these years, that he wouldn't pop up and revisit. And isn't that just like how circumstance happens, that someone who you hadn't been looking for comes, right? And is presented is a glimpse of your past, right? So I think it's better to give all of the information up front. And I could see where people could have reservations, because we always wonder whether or not people are going to think some kind of way about our past. We sometimes have shame and anger or guilt connected to the memories of our past. We haven't worked ourselves through, oh, that's right, I did that. Oh, that's right, that was me. Because we move on and close that door thinking that as long as this door stays locked, nothing can fall out of it. Nothing can fall out of the closet if we lock it with a nice deadbolt. It'll never come back. Instead of maybe reconciling, and dealing with that, right? So Jay Gerald, use the standard link that, yep, it's the standard Restream link. Let me know if you don't have that standard link. Okay. If you don't have that standard link, I will just share it here and highlight it for anyone that wants to come. That's our standard link. Yep, looks like it's in the Love and Stuff comments, I think. I don't know if I see it populate yet on in the other platforms. Okay. Yep. All right, so Shantae, click on that link and see if you can come join me. Bernard Hall, I don't know if you just came through the room and passed through, but I'd love to hear your insights on this, or Bilal Muhammad, who I see in one of these rooms, like he's going to one of these rooms, and click share and tag some folks to join us in the discussion. We're talking from the inbox. Gidget, Arcand, thanks for joining us. Can you click share and tag some folks to join us? Welcome to Love and Stuff. I think this is your first time with us, and I thank you so much for accepting our invitation to come. I hope that you will click share. We're talking sometimes from the inbox. We get topics from our inbox. And so this is one of the topics that came from our inbox. A 40-something woman who's happily married, she says, and has adult children and a wonderful career, recently learned that a former partner who she used to be involved in a polyamorous relationship with in her early 20s and a swinger lifestyle in her early 20s has recently been hired at her company to be her boss. And she is freaking out somewhat because she's never told her husband that she led that polyamorous lifestyle, just that she was a wild child. Now, if I'm the husband, I would probably ask, what do you mean with wild? But that would probably be because I've seen some pretty wild things. So I'd like to know what wild really means. But, so do you agree, Gidget and others? Shantae says she's going to have to say something. So what do you think should be happening? Felix Holmes is joining us. Thank you, sir. What do you think should be happening? Should she be telling her husband about this now? Should she be saying to him, baby, I got to tell you something about something that happened many years ago? If you agree with Shantae, give me some likes or loves. Likes if you're on YouTube, loves everywhere else. Sorry. Likes or loves. Or whatever emoji that you can seem to work. What would you do? Would you be having a conversation? Gentlemen, would you be having a conversation with your wife? If you were in the swinger lifestyle in your early 20s, in the polyamorous, polyamorous, the typical, but it could be many different things, would be at least you're in relationship with at least two people and they're aware of that relationship and they may be in relationship with each other, right? So it's kind of typical, to the degree that it's typical, that there are two women and a man. Now, there are all different kinds of polyamorous relationships, as I'm finding out. But those two women can be in relationship with each other. They could also be in relationship with him. But everybody knows that there is not exclusivity. So it's not polygamy, right? There aren't marriages, even though broadly it could fall under that, but you're in relationship with more than one person. All right. Got somebody joining me. I don't see a face, so I'm waiting for them to get their camera going, and then we will have them join us. All right. I appreciate somebody clicked on the link. Once you get your camera going, we'll have you join us. All right. Bilal says, absolutely. You absolutely are having this conversation. Okay, absolutely. All right. And we have one guest that we're queuing up, and guess you have to just put your camera on. So work out to put your camera on. That way you will be able to come live with me. It's not like a podcast. It's not like Clubhouse where you just come and you talk. I'd have to see you. So I need to, see who I'm working with. So we'd love to have you on. That's why we put the link up there, but you gotta access your camera so we can see you. All right. Okay. So Bilal says, and Shantae says, you absolutely have to tell him. I appreciate that, but I'm just wanted to say she has to be transparent. Her past does not define where she is now. I appreciate that. And I was hoping to get you to come on the camera, but it sounds like you don't want to come on the camera. Yeah. So if you click that link, because just like I'm live and you can see me, people are going to see you. Yeah, people are going to see you. Okay. Got another guest coming. All right. This looks like Shantae McDougal. Hey, Shantae, thank you for joining me live. Uh-oh. Camera's coming back on. Okay. There you go. I got your camera. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, you are frozen, but you are here. Give you a second for that to work itself out. All right, so the rest of you. Okay, I'm just checking across the screen. Yep, she's still frozen. What do you think? Do you think that conversation like Bilal and Shantae momentarily, that there should be a conversation? So how do you explain, Lucy, as Ricky Ricardo would say, how do you explain that you just happen to never share this information in over 23 years? How do you explain that to your spouse who you've been married to for some 20 something years? Or you just take your chances because you don't want this to blow up in your face. Give me some likes or loves. Linda Phillips has joined us. Felix Holmes has joined us. We're talking about, from the inbox, a 40-something-year-old woman who's been married 20-something years. And back in the day, she was involved in a polyamorous relationship with a man and a woman. All three of them knew that there was interactions. And at that time, she was having interactions with the man and the woman. The man also had her involved in going to swinger parties where they would go and switch partners and switch sexual partners as well. And they would go to these parties pretty regularly. So those of you that might know something about that life a little bit more, you might understand exactly what I'm saying. And so fast forward, now she's married to adult children and doing well in her career. As a matter of fact, she's applied for a promotion, felt good about getting the promotion, but she didn't get it. And so she was a little dejected that she didn't, hurt that she didn't get the promotion, and she took a couple days off. Well, one of her coworkers, while she was off, said, "Hey, they hired our new boss, and his name is," and sure enough, it was the guy from 20 something years ago who was her swinger partner. All right. Okay, we give her a chance to come back in. Maybe she's having some challenges. That guy was her swinger partner. And she said instantly they connected. But she reminded herself, this is not what you want. You want what you have. And she told him, "Hey, I'm happily married." And he said, "Hey, I respect that. I respect that. I'm married too, and I got an open relationship." And she said, "Well, I don't." He says, "I do." In every conversation, he's bringing up details about this open relationship. She feels like he's grooming her, right? He's trying to prep her to be able to be a part of this open relationship. And so she's like, "I better tell my husband, but I'm concerned that if I tell him, he's the kind of husband that's going to show up and say, 'Where are you at? Let me take you to lunch so he can see me and I can see him and let him know how it is.'" So she's concerned that that is what might happen if she tells her husband. At least that would happen, right? He might be upset and say, "Hey, you didn't tell me that." And she says her defense would be, "I did tell you that I was a wild child." And, again, if I'm him, I would have wanted to qualify that some 20 something years ago. But being young and in love, maybe maybe didn't have the counseling to really delve into that, to find out, you just might have said, "Well, everybody has a past." And to that question. Everybody does have a past, right? Should we hold people's past against them? You know, they say there's this saying that says, when the devil shows you your past, show him his future. That there's always a response, you know, to someone showing you your past, right? But do people really let us get over our past? And maybe even more importantly, among these questions, do we ever let ourselves get over our past? I mean, if you've really done some things in the past and you've changed your behavior, you've changed your mind, do you get yourself over the past? All right, I think we're going to get her this time. She looks like a strong signal. Hello, Shantae McDougal. I can't hear you, but I can see you. You're not frozen. I still can't hear you. I can't hear you, and I don't have you muted. Let's see. Let me make sure I don't have you muted. I don't. So I don't know if you're on the computer. If you're on the computer, probably in the top, you're on your phone. So yeah, your microphone should automatically be accessed unless you touch the bottom, and it should say whether or not you want to use your audio from your phone. So it should give you the option to engage your audio. I cannot hear you. I just reading lips. I can still read. Oh, Lord, Lord, Lord. Okay, let's see. All right, your volume turned up on your phone. Okay. Wow. And it's not plugged into your headphones, right? It's not, right? Okay. I'm trying to think of what else might happen. Yeah, on your phone, are you in the Restream on a browser? Okay, so look at the top of your browser and see if it has the camera and the phone icon at the top of your browser. Like in the corner, on the corner left or right in that browser, it should show whether or not it's engaging your microphone. It'll be a small little icon, you know, the microphone with the line through it. All right. Did you freeze again? You froze again. Okay, gonna try it again. Okay, now you're moving. All right. Yeah, typically in the browser over to the right, if you have, it should show like on the what do you call that line? The site key line where it says the site name. To the right of that, it should either have a star, a microphone, and a video, like the little camera. Should have those things. Oh, she's popped out again. Okay, that's fine. All right, so do we forgive our past? Do we forgive our past? And thank you, all of you that are watching on Love and Stuff, the Love and Stuff page, and those that are watching the Marcus R. Holmes page, and those that are on YouTube. Thank you so much. For mostly the YouTube are my overseas friends. Thank you so much, because I know it's a large time difference, and for some, it's the middle of the morning, but I know sometimes you want to catch it while it's live, and I so appreciate that, and I hope that you will share it, the content. But I'm interested to know, would you forgive your spouse for information that they were afraid to tell you about their past? If it's the past. Now, if someone is, you know, now today is indulging in some substance abuse behavior, and they say, oh, by the way, I was a crackhead 23 years ago. Well, that might mean that there's still some challenge with substance abuse, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something that you stopped doing that hadn't manifested itself throughout your life and relationship. Should your spouse be able to get over that pretty quickly? Give me some likes or loves. Give me some likes or loves. And Bilal, if you're still in the room, thank you for revisiting the topic for us, our senior associate producer. And I think he also pinned it. Nope, I'm sorry. You pinned the link. Okay. Let you do what you do. Okay. So while we're waiting for Shantae maybe to come back and talk with us, I'm wondering, is Bilal still in the Love and Stuff room? You still in the Love and Stuff room? Bilal or Bernard or Felix? Who else? Some of these gentlemen, I wanted to get your opinion. Want to get your opinion. Okay. I think whatever you think about a polyamorous kind of arrangement, certainly if you are persons of faith, most religions and spiritual disciplines really support monogamy, right? Though there are instances in scripture where people have multiple wives, right? So it's not foreign, but most cultures and or religions espouse monogamy, and I understand that. So the concept of polygamy or polyamorous or swinger can be something foreign to the average person. I get it. But really, at the crux of this, I think, because I think even though she recognizes she still has chemistry with this guy, and that isn't, I think, an issue in and of itself, it's whether or not you act on that, right? I think more is how important is it for you to give a lot of detail to the person that you are marrying, because you don't know when and if your past is going to come back to visit you or to be your boss in this case. And so it can make for an awkward working situation, and it can make it awkward for your husband, who is now wondering, why didn't you ever tell me about this guy? And it's been 20 something years, and so I don't like you working alone, in close quarters with him, because you have this history. How many of you would have a problem with your wife working in close quarters with an ex who she had a wild past with? How many of you would have that problem, or gentlemen or ladies would have that problem with your husband working in close quarters with someone that you learn he's had some past with? Click share and tag someone to join us in the conversation. Right? I know Shantae was trying to join us. The link to join me live is on your screen. You can copy and paste that in your browser, and it should bring you right to us. A couple of quick pieces of information, and it should bring you right to us. We're talking about the past. Everybody has a past, right? Everybody has one. But how important is it for you to share your past with your spouse in detail, in depth? How many of you would go in depth and tell your spouse, I was more than a wild child? I was in a polyamorous relationship. And, on the scale of wild, if there is a scale, Maybe 3 isn't as wild as many others might think, because there are some things that might be considered wilder. Queen Reba Franklin has joined us. Thank you so much for coming to Love and Stuff. We're talking about your past. You know, there's this saying I said earlier that when someone shows you your past, when the devil shows you your past, show him his future. So people sometimes are unforgiving about the past. And sometimes people will hold you to that past, that you could do nothing differently than what you've done in the past, right? And sometimes you will hold yourself to that same standard and definition, right? You will never forgive yourself for behaviors or things that you demonstrated in your past. And so if you don't forgive yourself for them, there might be the tendency to hide them, right? Feel shame about them, feel guilt about them, right? And if you did something that was wrong for which you should feel guilt, right? Then do you come to a place that you forgive yourself and move forward? Or do you let that hang over your head and over your relationships and over your life because of something that you did in the past, whether it was a past habit or a one-time behavior? You have to work on forgiving yourself so that you don't hold it over yourself and you don't give that power to anybody else. Because most times, I venture to say most times, that we fail to be honest and open with our partners about our past is because there is some guilt or shame about it. And we project that they are going to see the same guilt and shame in that. Now, maybe what you did might have brought shame to you for a time, but you have to move beyond that. And especially if you've had a change of behavior, a change of lifestyle, then you will have to move beyond that and hold everybody else to that same standard. Such was I, but now, right? And you got to hold everybody else to that standard. Even if those people come back and say, oh, I remember when. Oh, I knew you. Remember when we used to? It's vivid in my mind, but that was used to. Or maybe it's not vivid in your mind, or maybe you do like me. No, I don't remember you. I don't remember you, Satan. No, I don't say it. I don't remember you, Satan. But you get the point. The point is that you've got to get to a place where you say, I am forgiven, and chiefly, importantly, I am forgiving me. I forgive me, right? So I'd love for you to join me here live. We're at 9:15, and we're off of a wonderful weekend of Valentine's Love. Love's Alive was excellent. And so we're just getting back in the groove. You know, we're doing our Black History moments every day this month at 7:00 p.m. And we're always happy to come back at 8:30 on Tuesday night. And I know tonight we're up against Queen Sugar and all of those other shows that are debuting. And thank God for TiVo or DVR or on demand, whatever you have. But I wanted to just thank you for showing up tonight and being a part of the discussion. And so I see folks still on the Love and Stuff page. I still see some folks that are on YouTube. And I just want you to jump in and chime in and say, you know, how would you handle that conversation that you're going to have with your spouse if you're going to have it? Is there anybody that says, I'm not going to have this conversation with my spouse? I'm going to manage up my manager. Okay? Because if that's you, no judgment here, but here's how I would say manage up your manager. I think you have a talk with your manager to say what was never can be. We are 20 plus years out of that. And while I respect that you have an open marriage with your wife, I would appreciate if you don't bring that relationship or the details of it to me Let's start a new relationship of manager to employee, which brings its own sets of accountability for both you and the company. And let's not even try to cross that line at any point. You have just put him on notice that it would be inappropriate for him as your manager to continue down this path. And if he has any ounce of decency or any wit about him, he's going to say, this could be a problem for me. I'm going to proceed as if this has not occurred. And you have to hold him accountable to that. And you might have a buddy who you hold accountable to that and say, yeah, I've known my manager. I don't know him well, but I used to know him 20 plus years ago, just to put it on the record if ever anybody else has to testify and be a witness, so that he can never say, I didn't know her from Jack. No, I'm putting somebody on notice early on that that was our past. And you reinforce that by keeping those boundaries of, because there are times that they, in this instance, they work in close quarters, have to at times. And so you keep that understanding of the boundaries are about work. It's not an after work affair. Affair might not have been the right word. We're not going out after work for drinks. That's not the relationship. Is that hard to do, to manage up? It's hard to do, but because of the world in which we're living in now, and everybody has a heightened focus on diversity, equity, access, inclusion, and belonging, they're going to be more sympathetic to a woman who is just trying to work, especially when she didn't get the promotion, if something should come up. And this manager should be wise enough to know that. I caution you, though, because that is a second full-time job. Because if the man is coming in telling you, I still got the same stuff going and now I got a wife, I think he is telling you he'd like to add you to this interesting relationship situationship. And because he's bold enough to do that, knowing that he's your manager, he probably isn't thinking with this as much as he should be. Your best line of defense is to tell your husband. And I think if you're telling your husband, I think you do tell your husband in as much transparency as you can muster to say, I really never thought that you would need to know the detail of what I did back then, but now a time has come where I think you should know the detail of what I have done. The detail of what I've done was I was involved in a polyamorous relationship, a swinger relationship, and now the individual has become my manager. And I want you to know, I put him on notice, but I wanted you to know, just in case, he keeps, bringing up that he's in an open relationship. 9 times out of 10, that husband is going to want to come to that job. And he's going to want to come to that job just to show this man she got a husband who will come to the job. He wants to put his own stank on it. You see, he wants to put his testosterone forward to say, let me help you understand the boundaries. And that's not always a bad thing. Unless you got a husband that does not know boundaries and he goes in there and turns up. If you know that's the husband you do have to navigate that. It is a very sensitive matter to navigate your husband coming on the job to check another person, because people sometimes do that and it doesn't always go as well as planned. So it's a delicate situation, but I think you do owe it to your husband to tell him the truth. Will he be upset? Maybe. But if you have been happily married for 20 something years and there's no infidelity and there's been no rift and no reason for him to believe that there was, I think the chances that someone that really loves you will forgive you are pretty high. A pretty good probability that someone can get over what you didn't share. But if there's insecurity in that relationship, he may ask a question, and it's a fair question. though it is typically steeped in insecurity. If you didn't tell me that, what else are you hiding? And that can be problematic for any relationship, because you do want to know, why didn't you tell me? And if it's just that I didn't want to give you the details because I didn't want you to think less of me, I think that's a valid response. Any response is valid if it's the actual truth of your situation. But I think it's valid because a lot of times when we do stuff, especially if we're young, and maybe sometimes when we're old, if we do stuff that we're not expressly proud of, and we did something that we thought wasn't a good thing to do or wasn't the acceptable behavior, we do tend to have some guilt and shame around that. That's why it's important that you come to terms with you about what you have done that violated your own rules. You have to have rules yourself, and not just society's rules, because society's rules change. Society's rules say this is good this week and this is good next week. You have to have your own constitution. Now, that might be founded in the scriptures, right? If you are a religious person or a spiritual person of a spiritual order or discipline, you might find your rules to be in alignment with the Bible. But you got a constitution. You got an unwritten rule in your heart. You got a Declaration of Independence in your heart. You've got amendments. You got the articles in your heart, right? And that's how you live. It's built upon those rules, those acceptable behaviors. And you know whether or not you violate those rules. And typically when we violate those rules, especially if that brings us in some bad light or disrepute, we will hang our head in shame, right? But then you have to reconcile for you when you break your rules, so that you examine whether or not there is a behavior shift, if your life was exacerbated by something else that contributed to that shift, and what you can do to get yourself back on track or to a new set of rules. And you have to reconcile that so that when you are talking to someone else, you're entering into a relationship with someone else, that you don't bring that guilt and shame, which prevents you from being transparent, prevents you from giving the information that you should give. Timothy Kenny has joined us. Thank you so much. We're talking from the inbox. We're talking about the past. And what do you do when you've been in relationships that you're not proud to say that you have been in? What do you do when you've moved forward with your life and you just want to leave that behind? I invite you to consider this, that if you leave that behind and you lock the door and you padlock it and you deadbolt it, that one day, because you haven't monitored that door or thought about that door again or the contents behind it, what's in there will come into your present and attempt to speak to your future. The best thing to do is to open that door and clear out that space, so that nothing in that room, nothing in that closet can come back and reappear to where you're going. You know that feeling when something from your past or someone from your past reappears in your present. And normally you'll have that if that person's interaction with you or situationship with you has been unresolved. So you have to be about the business of resolution of these past relationships and transparency in the new ones, because you never know when you may run into the very person or very thing that you tried so hard to forget about. I'm a witness. As I said at the outset, many years have passed by, and here comes something from the past. Sometimes something or someone that I've completely forgotten about. I've completely forgotten about it. Right in your face. So what do? If that is the past and it is not to be part of your future, you set those boundaries, right? But I would strongly suggest and encourage you to have the conversation with your present to ensure that you protect the integrity of your relationship. Because while people might like surprises, very few people want to be surprised about something that you should have and could have shared at the beginning. We're at 9:28, and I am so thankful. Those of you that are here, I'm looking for much more. I must admit, I know I'm off of a long weekend. My head is still swooning from what was a fantastic weekend. I don't know about you. My Valentine's Day, all of Love and Stuff were my Valentines. And so that online event, it was fantastic. And so I'm coming off that high of the weekend. I think maybe high from the mead that I got from Shram's Mead, but high from the weekend no less. A great Sunday, and here we are Tuesday, getting back in the throes of our weekly Love and Stuff at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we normally, a lot of times, we have topics straight from the inbox. So you can always send us a topic to Marcus R. Holmes or to the HR Passion Guy if you're on Twitch TV or YouTube. Inbox me there. Or on Love and Stuff, you can inbox me right on the Love and Stuff page. And we will respond to you and let you know, when we'll use your topic, if we can use your topic, and whether or not you want to maintain anonymity. You don't have to reveal your identity, and we'll work with you that your identity isn't revealed. I would tell you to talk to some of the folks in Love and Stuff, but there are tons of folks in Love and Stuff who've offered up their personal situations as topics, and we work together to kind of camouflage it so that their partner, who is also in Love and Stuff, didn't know it was their topic. So while sometimes you're having a conversation with your spouse, which is great, and building a relationship with your significant other, that's great too. Sometimes it's good to hear a different perspective from a different person who's not biased. There is an implicit bias in relationships that we want to work, that we want to see the good in them, and that we might miss some things that would be obvious to the next person. And so therein lies some of the beauty and genius of hearing different perspectives and opinions. Not in judgment. We don't raise our voices in judgment. We believe that God, who is the quintessential love, is the judge. And his standards are sure. And so you can always judge your life based on his standards, right? He intended for you to feel his love so much that you would respond in loving him back with your whole self, your mind, body, and soul. And that you would love your neighbor as yourself, which means you got to do the self-love before you can love anybody else. That's why I say the forgiveness of your past is so important for you before you go and enter into some relationship with somebody else, right? So it's the self-love. It's God loving us and asking us to love him back. What a God that is. He doesn't require you to love him back. What a God that is, right? He wants He desires for his creation to love him back because you were created in his image and likeness. You got love in your ingredients. It's in your DNA. It's in your recipe, right? And then after you do all of that, learning how to love him with all that you are, learning how to love yourself with all that you are, and through all that you are. I was trying to find the best way I wanted to characterize it. Loving yourself through all of your imperfections and flaws. Coming to the truth of who you are and loving that. Maybe working to improve it, sure, but loving it. Loving yourself, right? Then you're positioning yourself to love others. I see Alvin Wilkerson. Health and wellness to you. I haven't seen you in Love and Stuff in a long time, and I know you've been in the hospital. I hope that you are doing well and are safe. All right. I hope that you will click share, tag someone to share this topic. We're going to keep the topic going in the inbox, in the comments, and we'll do a little later. We'll do a messenger live and have some more conversation around it with some other folks. Listen, if you missed Love's Alive Sunday broadcast, we're going to do a rebroadcast this Friday at 7 p.m. It is still $4.99, but you can get $1 off if you get your ticket before Friday. And so it's a rebroadcast. It has the mixologist DJ Bass, who played some wonderful, wonderful music. It has 3 short films by Richard Dickey Mason, a screenwriter who is from Detroit, who now lives in Atlanta, but he's a screenwriter, he's an actor, model, you name it. Dickey does it all. And he was so gracious in letting us use 3 of his film shorts. So they're 3 short films, but they were very good, humorous, suspenseful, won't tell you anymore. And we also had a cameo appearance from Ready to Love Season 3, Rashid Floyd. So the Ready to Love show of the couples coming together, Rashid came and was our special guest. You don't want to miss it. It was a great time. Now, you can't win the prizes that you'll see because the prizes have already been won, but you can enjoy a great evening on Friday. And it's just $3.99 or $4.99. So $3.99 if you get your ticket before Thursday, and $4.99. The great thing about it is once you purchase your ticket, you'll be able to go back and access it a couple of more times, even after the show is over. So people who purchase their tickets can go back and watch it again. And that's one of the beauties of it. And so they might come back and join us for that. They'll be able to access it free, right? And so we'd love for you to come and join us. The event is listed on the Love and Stuff page, and you're welcome to do that. We also debuted new Love and Stuff gear with a new, one of our new phrases, which is Valentine is not a moment. It's not just a moment, it's a lifestyle. And the point is that if you wait for one time the year to get in touch with somebody once a year and show them all the love that you have for them one time a year, and you're not loving them as a part of a lifestyle, you're probably putting on a big production, right? If you all fought like cats and dogs, you've seen this movie, Malcolm and Marie, they fought like cats and dogs. It was exhausting to watch it. But if you fought like cats and dogs on February 13th, then on the 14th, you're like, well, it's Valentine's Day. Then on the 15th, you fought like cats and dogs. It's really a production. But if Valentine is more than a moment and it's a lifestyle through good and bad, ups and downs, ugly and uglier, right? You're loving on your spouse, your significant other, because you're loving on yourself. And think about it. Think about the premise that we talked about, loving with your whole mind, body, and soul, and your neighbor as yourself. Well, it would be piss poor to treat your neighbor better than you treat yourself, right? And probably very few people do. Most people aren't going to treat their neighbor as good as themselves. Some will, most won't. But if you are loving yourself, your neighbor is in a much better position. Your husband, your wife, your boo, your bae is in a much better position to receive your love if you are already loving yourself. So, Valentine, if you are your own Valentine, are you loving yourself more than on Valentine's Day? Because if you are, then you might not get steeped in the I'm lonely depression moment of Valentine's Day because you don't have a boo or bae. If you're loving yourself, actively loving yourself all year long, it'll make it easier. Will it take it away? No. If you want to be in relationship, you want companionship, you want marriage, you want covenant, no. Being alone is not what you want. I'm not saying that it is. It doesn't replace what you want, but you're able to navigate it better if you're spending a lifestyle of loving yourself and building yourself up for that day that you will be in relationship. So Valentine is not just a moment, it's a lifestyle. And so I know that there are some folks that have joined, some that have passed through that are married, and they will tell you there are just because moments. There's just because sex, right? It ain't because it's the 28th and we wait till the end of the month once the bill's all paid, then we can have sex. Some couples might do that. It's just because. It's just because I wanted to buy you flowers. It's not your birthday. It's not Christmas. It's not Mother's Day. It's not Easter. It's not Valentine's Day. It's just because I'm buying you chocolates. Just because I'm refilling your favorite fragrance. Just because I'm, doing that honey-do list that you've been asking me to do. Just because. It's just because, right? That is more an indication of the lifestyle. And so we have new gear out that represents that. And you can get the fitted t-shirt, fitted long sleeve shirt, and the t-shirt now. And the hoodies and sweatshirts will probably debut. They should be on there by Friday's event. And right now they're all on sale. They're, I think, all except for the extra large sizes that cost a little more. I think everything is $15 or less that you can get from our HR Shopify store. And you can go to the Love and Stuff page and click shop and go there, or you can go to our HR Passion Guys Shopify store at Shopify. So if you type in HR Passion Guys Shopify, it'll bring up that store, and you can shop till your heart's content. 35% of those proceeds go to charity. The rest goes to building up this platform and bringing you, hopefully, excellence in these shows. And so with that, I want to thank you whether you're on YouTube, Twitch TV, Marcus Our Homes page, the Love and Stuff homepage. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And I hope that you will share this content, share it widely across platforms, keep the conversation going. What would you do if your past, as colored and wild as it could be, came back and showed up as your boss? How would you handle it? Or better yet, have you reconciled your past in a way that it doesn't surprise you when it comes back? Take the power that's hanging over your past and redirect it so that you'll have a transparent love that if your past ever comes back, you know how to handle it. I'm Marcus Holmes. Thank you for joining us. Christina Smith, thank you for joining us. Thank you, all of you that are joining. You're coming in. I know I'm up against some heavy open night stuff, but we're going to go to a messenger room probably very shortly for a little bit. And then, you can continue the conversation there. So I'll make sure that the messenger room is open for anybody that wants to come, and it will be live. So I want to make sure everybody knows that you will see it live when you come to the messenger room. People will see and hear your conversations. Thank you so much. Don't forget to follow us at the Love and Stuff page. Don't just click like, don't just click share, click follow. Follow us on this extraordinary journey. There are extraordinary people in the Love and Stuff community. Come on and meet some of them and have an extraordinary time that will inform your personal constitution on love. What's your thoughts on love? And what's the love that you're looking for? Come join this journey. You will be surprised of what you will be awakened to. Have a great evening.